What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Happy Friday. Thank you so much for joining us at another Freedom Friday call. And we have a very, very special speaker with us tonight. The topic of this evening is making men great again. And so if you are a man, this is going to be very powerful for you. If you're a woman, this is also going to be very powerful for you so that you can help us. Okay, so with that said, my name is Nick Teixeira. If you're joining us for the very first time, welcome to the Wavemakers community. We are a community of people dedicated to creating positive waves of change for ourselves, our community, and the world. And every single Friday, we interview someone that's disrupting the marketplace, bringing a lot of value to the world. And tonight's speaker is doing just that, okay? So Alfred Zayas is here with us from Miami, Florida, or near Miami. And I got the pleasure of meeting him a few days ago. And just someone that has a lot of purpose in his day-to-day life, someone that's committed to growth, and not only for himself, but for the people around him as well. So I'm super excited to dive in, get to know you even better, and just put you in a position to share your gifts with the world. And just a little bit about him before we pass the mic to him. So he was actually born, one of the things that I learned from him, he was born with a life-threatening cranium issue. Okay, he was born with this, and he had a 40% chance of living and being normal. And God normally, as you can tell, or naturally as you can tell, really wanted him to be here with us. And truly a walking miracle, exactly. And, he overcame that, had the surgery, and is now doing something unbelievable in the world. And, we're going to dive into his experience in business and all the amazing things that he's created, jumping into different industries and just really solidifying his name. And so with that being said, before we dive into and bringing you into the hot seat, Alfred, why don't I pass the mic to you, my man? Thank you for joining us. And why don't you take a couple of minutes and from your perspective, tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your background, and then we're going to go into the questionnaire.
All right, guys. So I'm Alfred Zayas. I'm happy to be here with you guys, man. Honestly, this call excites me, man. You guys have a rocking environment, awesome people here. So I'm really privileged to be able to speak to you guys. And so look, here's my story, right? So, I'm not this like multi-millionaire or anything like that, right? So the reality is a lot of people think to themselves, like, why the hell would I listen to this guy? Like, he's not like Instagram famous or nothing like that. But the reality is this, right? I believe that God assigned certain people for certain messages, right? And so we don't necessarily need to look at people that just have all this success and think to ourselves, well, these are the people that have it right. The reality is that God uses anybody for certain instruments and for certain gifts and for certain messages. And so for me, the message that I have pretty much is, man, I see today's economy and I see the way people are living. And I think that there's a lot of false teachings in the world today. And what happens is we've kind of bought into this idea that society has taught us that, life's supposed to be easy. Life's supposed to be easy. If you're born in the United States, you should have certain privileges. Everybody should be treated equal and all these other things. And what's happening is, because of this misinformation, people today, I'm very big on mental health. People today, especially men, are dealing with more anxiety, more depression, more stress, more fear, more doubt than ever before. There's more medication for people struggling with mental health in the market today than there's ever been. It's insane. My story starts from when I was younger. I was born, like Nick said, with a condition called craniosynostosis. So what that means, it's a fancy word for pretty much my cranium was overlapping. So instead of my cranium being parallel to one another where it allows room for my brain to grow, it was overlapping like this. So at 18 months, my mom was noticing that like I was walking funny. I would walk with my head tilted, and she would take me to doctors and they would say like, no, he's fine. Everything's fine, because this is like such a rare condition. And imagine this was in the 80s where medicine isn't what it is today. She took me to like 4 pediatrics. They all said I was fine. It wasn't until I went to her doctor, and this was out of coincidence. I went to her doctor. She was going for a checkup. I was like 18 months old, and the doctor sees me playing like this with my head tilted. He's like, man, is that your son? And she's like, yes, that's my son. He's like, he's got a condition. I could tell that he has cranial synostosis. My mom, check this out. My mom had just come from Cuba. She didn't know barely the language. You know, they were terrified. They didn't know what the heck was going on with me. But they finally found somebody that actually could identify what was wrong. So he explained, you know, the whole process. He had his buddy was a specialist that would handle surgeries for babies with this condition. And so at 18 months, I needed to have surgery on my head where they cut me open from one side of my head all the way to the other side, pulled down my head, reconstructed my head so that my cranium could be level with each other, which would give my brain room to grow. There's a 40% chance of me, you know, having that surgery and actually being okay. But there was a 100% chance that if I didn't have the surgery, I was gonna die. So the odds were in my favor ultimately at the end of the day. And throughout my life, I had 9 surgeries, 5 on my head, 4 on my eyes. And so what happened is I would go to school, you know, with bandages wrapped around my head. And imagine, this is like middle school, you know, and high school and elementary school. Like, you know, kids in those age, like there's no mercy there, man. You know, they're telling you straight how it is. And I was so insecure and so shy that I wanted to hide from everybody. I didn't want people to look at me. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I was in this little bubble, you know, and I struggled with that for a long period of my life. And it wasn't for my grandfather. My grandfather was the kind of man that you know, he was like, you know, very much the kind of person that was like tough love. You know, he would not let me just sit in my mess. You know, he would look at me and expect me to rise. And it was like, I didn't believe in myself. That was the honest truth. I didn't believe in myself. If it wasn't for my grandfather and if it wasn't for sports, I don't know where I'd be today. But he got me into baseball, which helped me a lot. But at the same time, he just would not allow me to settle for less than what he saw in me. And he saw things in me that I didn't see in myself. I didn't see the greatness that he saw in me, right? Like, too many times, how often do we look at other people and we see this massive potential? We're like, oh my God, like this guy can do anything he puts his mind to, yet he's not doing anything, you know? It's like frustrating, right? Like, especially with the people we love the most. And so my grandfather was that person for me that just gave me the love, but at the same time, the motivation, the inspiration, the toughness, the mental toughness, the attitude. He gave me so much of himself that it changed my life. I no longer was that shy, insecure kid that felt sorry for himself. And I no longer viewed my surgeries as like a setback. I no longer viewed it like, whoa, poor is me, man. Because when I was younger, I used to think to myself, why? Why was I born like this? Like, why, God? And it made me question God, you know? And not only did it make me question God, it made me question life. I didn't want to be alive. You know, every time I heard from the doctor, I need another surgery, the first thing that would go through my head was, oh my God, I got to go back to school with my head swollen. I mean, I would be in class, like in high school, okay, with bandages wrapped around my head that were bleeding because the blood needed to drain out of my head because it couldn't just stay in there. So there was drainages on each side. And sometimes I'd be in class and blood would drip on my shoulder and I'd have to run to the bathroom. And I mean, it was crazy. But I look at that today and it's the biggest blessing that I ever had. You know, and this is my story. This is my testimony. And this is my message to men, especially because as men, what we tend to do is we tend to like completely disconnect and shut down and just suppress all our emotions and pretend they don't exist. And the problem with that, man, is that we all want success. We all want a better life. We all want to achieve greatness. There's like gifts that God put inside of us and desires that we all have. Okay. But the problem is, as men, what we've done is we've built a foundation on lies. And what I mean by that is we pretend to be confident. We pretend to have it all put together. We pretend to be okay, but really we're hurting inside. And so whenever we deal with adversity, or whenever we deal with struggle, or whenever we deal with setbacks, it causes us to go into this place in our minds where we start to talk down to ourselves. We start to doubt ourselves. That mental noise comes in. And then that affects our performance, right? And so I've always been curious, because I've been in numerous industries. I was a personal trainer, and I got to a really high level there. I was a baseball player. I also got to a high level there. I pretty much, for the most part, whatever I've done very well. And I don't think there's anything special about me. But what I've learned, and I learned at an very early age, is I learned certain skill sets and habits and behaviors and mindsets that were necessary so that I could develop the mental toughness and the attitudes necessary to be able to achieve success in whatever I desire to do. And I realized that, a lot of people were not gifted with the grandfather that I had. And a lot of people were not gifted with the adversity that I had, and I look at this as a gift. Too many times we look at adversity like it's a problem. Adversity is not a problem. Adversity is a gift. It's molding you so that you can be the person that God designed you to be, so that you can attain the things that you desire. And we live in a society today that's always showing you all your desires, right? Like, you look at Instagram, you see the houses, you see the cars, you see the money, you see the this, you see the that, but you don't realize that all those things are a byproduct, meaning they come second. They don't come first. You can't just aim at your goals and expect to hit them. They come second. It's a byproduct of your growth. It's a byproduct of change. It's a byproduct of handling adversity. Those are the things that you need to focus on. How do I deal with adversity? How can I grow? How can I get better? Knowing that in that process, as a byproduct, I will have the success that I desire. But I need to be the man that I know I'm called to be in order to be able to do that first. And
Wow.
so that's my story right
My
there.
brother, that is amazing, man. I just want to say you are an inspiration, truly. Guys, drop a 33 in the chat if you've already gained value in this call. I know I have. Man, you are a warrior. So thank you so much for, not allowing the adversities and the circumstances that you found yourself in growing up to be the reason that you stay down in life, right? You use that as the blessing. That's what really stood out to me as you're telling that story, is you chose to change the lenses that you were looking at that adversity, right? It became the reason to improve instead of you saw it as a gift. And man, that is incredible. And I can relate with what you're saying. As a man, I'm going to speak for myself, but speak for a lot of us men, that it is true, man. It is true. Adversities and the quote unquote failures of life, a lot of times just, it really challenges our belief, and it puts us in a position where we don't think we're worthy enough. And so that's my first question to you. For all of us men that naturally have things or traumas that we experience in life, maybe having a grandfather like yourself, or not having a father present, or any role model, a male role model in life, what is a great starting point for us men to find that real identity within us, and begin to speak truth into our own minds instead of letting the world tell us whatever it is that the world is selling us?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's a great question, man. I would tell you the first place you need to start is you need to understand that there's nothing wrong with you. Okay? That is the first place to start. You know why? Because what happens especially with this self-development movement, is you will get to a place where you're self-developing, but you're doing it from a place of thinking you're not good enough. So you'll keep self-developing, and it'll never feel like enough because you still feel like you're not good enough. You have to first understand that there's nothing wrong with you. Your adversities, the things that you question about yourself, man, those are all your gifts, actually. Those are all the things that God placed specifically in your life so that he could get you to where you need to be. That would be the first thing I would help people understand. And then the second thing real quick is you got to remove any type of negativity from your life. whatever that may be. That may include family members. It probably does include family members. It probably includes best friends. It probably includes your partner right now. But you got to decide what's more important to you, man. You know, I want to walk my purpose. I want to live out my destiny. I want to be the best version of me possible. And I am willing to remove anything from my life that does not fit there.
Powerful. Brother Gabe, we're going to have two other hosts with me interviewing and asking questions for Alfred. So that was powerful, man. If you guys didn't take notes, there's nothing wrong with you. Realize that. Remind yourself that daily until you believe it. It is all a gift, and remove all negativity from your life. Gabe, go ahead, my brother.
First of all, thank you to Alfred for being with us. Thank you to Adriana for connecting with us. We appreciate you guys. And I know Alfred on a personal level, so I know the blessing that he is by being here with us. Some of you don't. And it's, you know, he always brings value when he speaks. So we appreciate you for that.
Thank you.
I have two questions, but the first question is, what time did you wake up this morning?
3 a.m., baby. 3
You guys take notes. 3 a.m. If you want to do something great, you can start by changing the time that you wake up.
Yes. And here's some for you guys on that, right? Don't do it, because I tend to do this too. Don't do it from a place of ego, like, yeah, I woke up at 3 a.m. Woo! That's not the point of that, because sometimes that does happen, right? It's like, yeah, I woke up at 3 a.m. That's not the purpose of it. I still get a good amount of sleep. I get, 6-7 hours of sleep, but I'm just in bed by 8-9 o'clock, so don't try to go to bed at 12 and wake up at 3. That's not what I'm telling you. You won't function, but I do it because from 3 to 7, there's no Instagram, there's no Twitter, there's no Facebook, there's no emails, there's no text messages, nothing other than focus. And you could get a lot of stuff done at that time, and that's why I've been doing it. So
just real quick, The Rock, Dwayne Johnson changed what time he woke up, and everything changed after that. But we're not going to – that was an intro question. That one doesn't count. The real first question is, for men and women, what is your opinion, because it's yours, on the importance of men and women finding a community? Men tend to be loners, and they don't express how they truly feel because they think nobody understands them, so they go be alone. So what's your opinion on the importance? What do you think about community?
I think it's everything, man. That's one of the reasons why, I'm starting a podcast and I'm actually building a community. You guys actually inspired me on this. I was telling Adriana, I'm like, I think I want to do these Friday calls just for free, just to build a community of men. And I don't even care. I have women on there too, anybody. I really don't, it doesn't matter. Anybody that's willing to listen to me, right? But I think it's so powerful because it feeds us. Like the energy I'm getting from this call from you guys is powerful. I would not, it's 8 o'clock at night right now. I'd be in bed right now, almost like probably half asleep already. But because I'm here with you guys, I can feel your energy, And here's the other thing that I think is extremely important is I think you need a community to hold you accountable, right? And so accountability is very key, because the more people you could tell about what you're doing, right, the bigger your purpose becomes. Because if you're the only person that knows what your goals are, dude, you'll let yourself down and you'll let yourself off the hook at any moment. Let's be real. If I'm the only person that knows that I'm trying to wake up at 3 a.m., okay, bro, tomorrow I might be half asleep and I don't do it. But if I'm putting it out there and I'm like, hey, I'm starting a 3 a.m. club, who wants to join me? And I'm telling my friends and I'm telling you guys, now it's like, 3 a.m. comes and I'm expected to be awake, so it's either I'm not awake and I'm going to hear the backlash, or I get up and I make things happen. So that's the power of community. Very, very, very important, man.
Absolutely. And you said an important word, which is accountability. If you're trying to do life by yourself, you have no accountability because you don't count. It doesn't matter how many imaginary friends you have.
I like that.
And we welcome you guys any Friday that you and Adriana want to connect. You're welcome to join us. Last question. adversity. We've all been faced with adversity, and that's a great word that you gave us, which is adversity is a gift. What would you tell men and women on this call when you are looking at adversity in the eyes? What is the one word that you want to leave with us? One word when you faced adversity since birth and you left another networking company where you were doing very well in, and you faced adversity in your personal life and you've always conquered that mountain. So what's that one word? And
power, power. Adversity brings power. Adversity brings power. Adversity brings power. It's your source of energy, man. It is like the thing that you could stand on to get to the next level. Without it, you're nothing, period. Without adversity, you are nothing.
Amazing. Thank you, brother. I love you. I'm going to pass the mic to my favorite white boy in the universe, the Eric Brown. Take it.
What's up, Alfred? Good to see you. Adriana, so great to be here. Man, you provide so much value in these different times. I'm so grateful we're here.
Thank you, man.
I as well have the personal experience to know Alfred as well, and what a gift he truly has been in my life. And man, something from our call the other day that was so powerful was you sharing the story about yourself and your grandfather, which, you know, me being able to listen to that, I was like, wow, like my dad was so hard on me for my whole life. And I always thought it was because I wasn't good enough in his eyes. However, it was him seeing so much worth and potential within me that it pushed me to raise some of the standards that I now live at a lot of the time. And so like, there was this beautiful, you know, breakthrough kind of like pivotal moment that happened on that call when it wasn't even necessarily for that reason, but it's beautiful how God provides those gifts. I wanted to bring it back to one of the first times I heard you speak, bro, is you put a word up on a PowerPoint that said cognitive dissonance.
Oh yeah.
And you know, something I know that I for me is like, you know, these, as men, we have these beliefs. However, if we see these beliefs as a tabletop, a lot of the time they stand on one leg rather than multiple legs of supporting reasons. And so it's hard for us to stay true to our beliefs. And so with different insecurities and self-worth and these different things, you know, how can we, you know, build on those beliefs and build such strong beliefs that we know who we are and where we're going?
That's a really good question, man. I think the first thing is look, we have to understand that we're spiritual beings. You know, I'm very big on my spirit, man, and on my faith because it's a huge component of your life. And what happens is if you think that you're going to solve all your problems through your head, that's never going to happen. Your head is a mess. I'm telling you, my head's a mess. Every head is a mess. Do you understand? Your mind, if you learn about the mind, your mind is designed to keep you safe. Okay, it's not designed to make you successful. It's not designed to work for you so that you could have all the things that you desire. That's not the purpose of the mind. Your mind actually contracts. It slows you down. It stops you. So you have to learn how to operate from something other than just your thoughts. And what else do you got? Well, you got a spirit. You do have a spirit. Contrary to what the world's trying to tell you, you got a spirit. It's so crazy the way the world operates because they don't want to acknowledge God. But perfect example, if you die, they'll burn your body with no problem. It's not considered death when you're dead, right? But they'll burn your body. Why? Your body's still the same. Your brain's there. Your heart's there. Everything's there. The only thing missing in that moment is your spirit, which is gone. That's the only reason you're dead. So to not acknowledge the fact that you have a spirit and to not know how to operate from that spirit is slowing you down. It's causing you pain because you're buying into all the lies that your mind's telling you. You know, and so for me, that's the starting point of where my beliefs stand on. And then I also am very observant of my emotions. I know if I'm feeling a negative emotion, see, I don't view negative emotions like they're bad. I view negative emotions like I view the indicators on my car. If I'm driving my car and my car indicator shows that I have a flat tire, I don't view that as bad. I view that like, oh man, I got to put air in this tire. That's all I view it as. So if my feelings are, man, I'm feeling a little down, I don't view that as there's anything wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm a human being. Sometimes I'm going to be down. Sometimes I'm going to be up. Sometimes I'm going to be good. Sometimes I'm not going to be good. I just view it as like, okay, Well, let me acknowledge where this is coming from. And then I take a look within myself and I see where that's coming from, and I dissect what lie did I buy into? Like what triggered me? What caused me to feel this way? And then I make the adjustments and I find my truth in that, right? Because God designed us all to be powerful. I'm very big on power, right? God designed us all to be powerful. I know when I'm out of power, I bought into a lie. And then I got to address where that lie is. So it's not a matter of, oh, this person said this, that person said that. No, I don't buy into what people say. What people say don't matter. There's a lot of false prophets out there today that are saying a lot of things that sound great to get clickbait and to get followers that have no meat, no substance, and no truth. So,
my brother, I mean, that is amazing. That is incredible. Why don't you keep going, man? Let's keep going.
Okay,
let's keep
I
going.
don't know. You told me to take 2 or 3 minutes. I'm trying to take all the time here.
I think you touched on a topic that I was gonna bring up, which was the power of being observant. It's something I've realized that was my biggest. When I'm not observant is when triggers pop up in my life and I'm thrown off course. Me.
Totally.
I think a lot of people are that way. I think most people, not everyone. So why don't we talk a little bit more about that? The power, the importance of staying observant. How do you do that? How do you build that habit and then help that be the reason that you daily change that identity within yourself?
Okay, so the first thing I think we need to all address is the fact that we have to really come to terms with this reality that we need to stop pretending. I needed to stop pretending. Okay, that was the first thing for me, at least. I had multiple faces. I had this face that I would show to one group of friends. I had this face that I show to my family. I had this face that I show to this other individual. And you know what the world tells you? What the world tells you is that they say that that's okay, actually. They tell you, don't open your heart up to everybody because you're going to get hurt. Well, I challenge that belief. The only way that you can get hurt is if you still have pain inside of you that you've never dealt with. If you have dealt with your pain, you can be totally transparent with the world and it doesn't faze you what anybody says any longer. That is where you want to get to. You want to get to a place where you've created this feeling within yourself. Like there's nothing anybody can tell me that I haven't dealt with already. But when I was younger, what I would do, check this out. I was so insecure about the scar in my head that I would paint it with women's eyeliner. I would paint the scar in my head with women's eyeliner, and I do my hair. It'd probably take me like 30 minutes to do my hair. And all the time I was looking at my head like, oh my God, bro, please let the eyeliner be there. Because that scar was not healed. It was still a wound. So every time somebody would talk about it, or every time somebody would bring up something that I was dealing with, it would just trigger this pain inside of me. And I shut down. And what I see, because I've been coaching people since I started work. That's what I've done my whole life. I mean, I had baseball coaches, and then from there I became a personal trainer. And then from there, I went into life insurance and investments, and I had a whole team of people in Primerica that I recruited. It was like 110 people. And now, I'm coaching men. And so, I mean, I've been coaching my whole life. So what I see is we all have these desires to do incredible things with our life, but then we get triggered. And we get triggered because there's pain still inside of us that we haven't dealt with. And it creates insecurity. It creates doubt in our minds. And then we buy into that doubt and we shut down and we stop performing. And it's impossible for us to get to our goals when we're taking 2 steps forward and then we stop. And we don't do anything for a week, a month, several months. And then we start again. And we have a little bit of success and then we get triggered again and then we stop. And so I realized for me, I'm like, man, I need to clean this all up because there's just no way that I could live a peaceful life or I could live a fulfilled life living this way. It's just not possible. And I see so many men and I see this with women too, but for me, I just like working with men because I just like working with men. But I think the message is for everybody, right? But I see this so often. It used to happen in personal training. It happened when I trained sales guys. It happened in Primerica. It's happening now when I train the guys that I work with here. They have good months, or like a good week or 2 good weeks, and then their heads up their butts. And I'm like, what the hell? How'd your head get so far up your butt? Man, you were doing so good, And it's like one little thing. But that one little thing, this is the thing. This is it right here. That one little thing, it couldn't be meaningless. But the pain that they've been holding for years gets triggered by that small little thing. And now this huge amount of pain comes. And it's not like anything big happened. It's just all the years of suppression and not dealing with the things that need to get dealt with, that they just come as an avalanche, to the point where men shut down. And then it gets to a place, I see it's crazy, man. It gets to a place where eventually they shut down for too long and their production completely shuts down, and then they have no money, and then they're like, oh, I got to get back to work again. But that's never a good place to work from.
My man, I'm gonna have to take the mic back and ask you what changed, and what changed inside of you that from when you were having those easy triggers, right? What changed? My guess is that the healing was a process. It wasn't an overnight thing, but I'm open to hearing what you say. And how did you heal from those wounds inside of you, so that it could heal?
That's a great question, man. So the first thing is it's gonna be a process. It's not an overnight thing. Okay. Anybody that tells you anything's overnight, they're lying to you, man. It took you a long time to get to where you're at right now. It's gonna take you a while to get to the next level. It's a process. But here's the thing: you gotta play life, right? Like you're gonna be alive for 80, 90 years, man. I'm not playing for a year or 2 years from now. I'm not looking for instant gratification or, to be rich like in 2 years. I'm playing long term, And so long term, if I look at it long term, I'm like, okay, what's a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years? It's nothing. It don't mean anything, And so the first thing I did is I just made a decision, man. You got to make a decision. Most people don't make decisions. They don't make decisions. They try. There's a difference. Trying, you're already setting yourself up for failure, period, man. I mean, just put yourself out of yourself for a second. And if somebody tells you, yeah, I'm going to try to go to your house, you know damn well that dude is not making it to your house. But you tell yourself, I'm going to try all the time. So I changed my vocabulary, which is vitally important. It's like little things. It's not like anything huge, right? It's not like this huge. It's little things. I changed my vocabulary. You'll never hear me say I tried. You'll never hear me say I can't do something. Never. And I also started taking massive personal responsibility for everything in my life. Everything. And I'm not just saying my results. No, I'm talking about my thoughts, my feelings. If you say something to me that makes me feel a certain way, I'm not putting that on you like this is your fault. No, this is my fault. What the hell do I have going on in me that allows you to trigger me? Because if you can trigger me, I'm screwed. I can't get anywhere in my life because I got to deal with people on a daily basis. Which is why men shut down, right? Why do men shut down and disappear? They don't want to deal with people. Why don't they want to deal with people? They're hurt. They don't want to show they're hurt, so they hide. It's a problem, But yeah, personal responsibility, that is huge. You have to take massive responsibility for everything. I took responsibility for this. Why did this happen to me? Instead of asking, like, why did this happen to me? I started asking, why did this happen to me? And I realized, oh, this happened to me because there's a lesson here that I needed to learn that I could teach. And I found purpose in my pain. This gives me goosebumps, man. I found purpose in my pain. And most people don't live with purpose. They try to find passion. I'm passionate, but passion fades, man. If you think to yourself, oh, I'm going to find passion in this business, or I'm going to find passion here, that's a bunch of BS. Passion, you don't find passion outside of yourself. What happens if the business shuts down? What happens if your career goes to crap? You can't say, oh, my passion is found in this career, because then you're left like a victim. Notice how that's a victim thought process. No, I am passion. I am passion. I choose to be passion. I choose to be passion. I don't need to find it anywhere else. I don't need to go in search of it. I have it. And I got purpose. And what purpose is, to me, is the driver. Because purpose gives you a reason for living. Purpose is bigger than you. Purpose is, man, if I don't do this, people will suffer. That is purpose. Passion is very selfish. Passion is, oh, what do I like to do? What do I like to do? Dude, you're going to have to do things you don't like to do. Period. Or you could just live in a little bubble. But I don't want to live in a bubble anymore. And so purpose is everything, man. I stopped worrying about myself. I stopped thinking about myself. I stopped trying to fix myself. And I started asking, like, man, what problems are people dealing with that I could start solving? How can I help people? And then I started to find purpose. And that purpose gave me a reason for living. And it's the reason I wake up every day excited. I know it's hard to believe because I see a lot of people struggle with this, but I never get in my head, ever. You can ask Adriana, she lives with me. I might get in my head for an hour, maybe 2 max, and I'm out. It drives her crazy because she's like, how did you do this? But I promise you, that's actually how God designed us to be. You get that? It's not like I'm special. I'm not special. This is like the way God designed us to be. God did not design us to suffer here on earth. I mean, you gotta suffer. Here's the thing. This is the irony behind it. You have to suffer in order to realize that you don't have to suffer anymore. But the suffering has to be there first. And then you realize, oh my God, like this suffering is, it's self-inflicted. And I finally woke up.
Thank God you woke up, bro, because you're waking us all up right now. Man, drop some 33s in the chat right now, guys. Show him some love.
What the hell is that 33? I keep seeing that. I'm like, what is that?
3 a.m.s in the chat.
It's the 3 a.m.s in the chat. Alfred, so as you start to run these, bro, it's a great way to get some engagement going, get people to see if people are staying attuned to those things. And you know, it fuels the fire. You know, it's Tony will go, you know, say I if, you know, you resonate with this and you say, so we can, I want you to try this on the next time. This next question, I want you to say something in the chat and watch people, you know, respond. And it's
I love that.
Beautiful, beautiful thing. And so the last question I have for you, bro, is like, man, the standpoint of, you know, separating purpose and passion from each other, that they're two separate conversations, is so powerful and so forth. And, you know, find purpose in my pain, or find purpose in so forth. And, you know, something that you said, you know, reminds me of David Goggins. He says the only way to find yourself is through suffering or adversity. And you say the same exact things. And it's so beautiful how two strong mental toughness coaches, you know, who had such adversity through, you know, their childhood, you know, a lot of us, you know, are on here, and in majority of our community, a lot of the time is also women. We actually have a lot of men on here tonight, which is beautiful. So, you know, my question to you, bro, is, you know, what would be a message for the women on the call for how can we support the men in this world? And more often, because, you know, we live in a society now where, you know, it's the female is like playing the masculine energy and playing the masculine role, and has to, you know, step up because men for themselves are not stepping up. And so, you know, what's a message to them, you know, to, you know, so graciously surrender to living in their feminine heart that it provides men the opportunity to step up for themselves?
That's so good. I think the first thing that we need, and I'm looking at my own personal relationship, I think the first thing that you need to do with your partner is you need to come to an agreement that you guys will hold each other accountable. I allow Adriana to call me out. I allow her to call me out on my BS. The other day I was in my head trying to figure out a one-liner for my business, right? Like this catchy one-liner, and I was stuck in that for like 3 days. No, like more, like 5. And I just looked at Adriana. She had this look on her face, like a disappointing look, like, dude, you've been doing this for 5 days already. What are you doing? And she's like, and she called me out on it, right? But here's the thing. Here's the thing with that. She also is focused on her growth. And what I see too many times is women is like, this is just me, but I see like, hey, you need to do this so that I can finally be like this, or I can finally do this. And that is not going to work. Sometimes the truth is your man needs you to lead. It sucks, because you probably want him to lead, but sometimes he does need you to lead just so that he could get it going. Because the truth of the matter is that we want to lead. We want to be the leaders of our household. We want to take care of our women. We want to be the best versions of ourselves. But for whatever reason, we tend to go in a funk every so often. And sometimes, you leading the charge and growing yourself and getting better, will really challenge your man. And here's the other thing. I don't know where you guys are in your relationship, but you also have to be okay with not needing your partner to be a certain way. Like, I don't look at Adriana and think to myself like, oh man, Adriana should do this, or Adriana should do that, or I try to manipulate her to get to do certain things. I think sometimes in relationships, what happens is we say certain things or we act a certain way to try to get our partner to be something. And I'm not trying to do that. And I don't think either men or women should do that either. What I think we should do is I'm going to be the best version of me possible. And one of 2 things is going to happen with my relationship. Either Adriana's going to rise to the occasion, which she does. And I'm like, wow, man, like this is incredible. This is the kind of woman I want to spend the rest of my life with. Or we will grow apart. And I'm totally okay with growing apart, because it's just a sign that says, hey, I'm with the wrong person. And I need to acknowledge that. So I never try to force somebody, or I don't think we should ever try to force anybody, if you're a woman or a man, to be something they're not. They have to have the desire. But you have purpose. As a woman, you have purpose. God built you for a reason as well. And when you start walking out your purpose, you will notice 1 or 2 things. Either your man will start to walk out his, or he'll literally walk out. And if he walks out, who cares? It doesn't matter, because the reality is that relationship would have never worked anyways.
I wanted to say one thing real quick, and it goes with when a woman has the ability or develops the ability to ask the man the right questions, then a man can open up.
Yeah.
Hey, how are you feeling? How can I serve you? Is there anything I can help you with? You want to talk? And it's in those questions that we are able to communicate.
Very good.
Wow. That's amazing. Well, man, that is so good. Truly. That is so good. And I'm glad, Eric, that you took it there and kind of bridge that gap between the men and the women so that we can be not only supportive of each other, but we can challenge and encourage each other to grow. And as long as we're doing that, we're all going to get better. So I love that. That is so powerful. Alfred, we're going to, for those of us that are watching the recording, unfortunately, we're going to end this recording, but we're going to stick around for another few minutes and allow everyone else that's here live with us to ask a few questions for you, or to you. However, do you have any last words for anyone that is here with us watching this recording before we allow this recording to end?
Well, hey, listen, man, number 1, if you're on this call or you're on this Zoom, right, you're a champion. It's Friday night, 8 o'clock. A lot of people are out. Who knows what they're doing right now, but the reality is you're a winner. So you have to understand that already. You are a winner. Now, winning is a skill that just needs to be developed like any other skill in your life. And, that's one of the things that I'm very passionate about, is teaching people the skill of winning, just winning. And you could apply those skills to any area of your life. you know? And so when you look at your life and you look at where you're at, just understand something, man. There's always a next level. And the only way to bridge that gap is to change your mindset, your attitudes, and your behaviors. That's it. Never judge yourself for where you're at. Never look down on yourself for where you're at. Just know that there's room for growth, and then go do the work necessary to grow.
Amazing. You are a winner. I love that. Guys, for those of you that are watching and recording, thank you for joining us. Go to the description box below. Follow Alfred. Go connect with him. Go stay connected because he's launching his podcast very soon. So we definitely want to go ahead and give him that follow and subscribe and just show him love. Thank you so much, brother, for joining us. We are super grateful. God bless you, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
Thank you.